This is Justin Germino from dragonblogger.com, and I'm here telling you that I had migrated dragonblogger.com over to WPX Hosting last year. The reason why I migrated Dragonblogger to WPX Hosting is in my previous hosting providers, I would have site outages, I would have slow response from support, they'd blame the plugins on the WordPress site, they'd do anything possible instead of helping research any issues or performance problems I was having and actually make recommendations. And I went through shared hosting originally, then I went to VPS hosting, then I went to those dedicated WordPress hosting sites. So I ended up on WPX hosting last year after reading some reviews of it online. And I have to say, for the year I've been on it, I've been very happy with the service and support. First, the support was excellent right away in migrating my site from outside. I had a huge site with over 8 years worth of database, media files, posts, etc. So 16 gigabytes of media files that used to be all uploaded, because this is before I migrated my content to Amazon S3 and CloudFront. So they had no problems taking my credentials and migrating everything for me. Now, sure, I could have done FTP, I could have migrated all this stuff myself, but that's a lot of time and I don't have that much time. The fact that just as part of signing up for the WPX hosting plan, they migrated not only my primary site, but all my sites over just by opening up a ticket and a migration request for free of charge, no additional cost. That was something I really found impressive right off the bat. They also migrated everything over cleanly, and within 24 hours of my site being migrated over, exactly the same plugins, exactly the same theme, everything identical. My site was 3 seconds faster on page load times than on my old hosting provider. Now, and just in the past 6 months, I also took advantage of their free SSL certificate installs. So in the WPX hosting panel, you could just simply convert your site over to SSL, use the really simple SSL plugin, and voila, you don't have to pay an annual SSL cert fee. So I have SSL enabled on all of my blogs that I migrated over at no additional cost, no annual SSL cert fee, and this was really easy and simple to do. I did even have to open up a support case because I had some trouble with redirects not working, and some of the other plugins I was using were having some issues with the site converting to HTTPS, but WPX support handled it and solved it very quickly every time. So with WPX hosting, you can create obviously user accounts that can log in, have FTP site access, but you can also narrow those accounts. Like let's say you're hosting a website for a friend and you want them to have access to their site. I've also set it up with that as well. I wound up creating 6 more sub-blogs on WPX hosting just because of how easy WordPress runs. I was actually running 3 other hosting providers, 9 sites across 3 of the hosting providers. I wound up consolidating them all into WPX hosting. And unlike some other WordPress hosting platforms, they do DNS zone management. So at one point I was doing my Dragonblogger hosted on one WordPress hosting site, but they didn't do DNS management, so I had to have my DNS management handled somewhere else. Well, using Route 53 for your DNS name or whatever you want to use to register the DNS name, you could do the individual Zone MX records on WPX hosting, which is what I did, because I also set up custom records for my mailing list provider through through Sendinblue. And so everything's all taken care of. They support the DCAM, they support everything else you need for your MX hosting records. Now, the plan I have currently allows up to 15 sites, and I have 8 sites out of 15 using up all converted to SSL, as I mentioned. Everything at WPX has been excellent. Their support is generally very knowledgeable, fast. They've shown errors in configs. They've made recommendations on the database. They've done tuning. When I had a DDoS attack, they identified it and put in some filters. They automatically use Cloudflare setup, so that way you're doing content caching, and they know the best W3 total cache settings for your site. So they actually help optimize your site for you so that you don't have to become a WordPress expert and do as much with WordPress yourself. It hasn't been 100% rosy. Not on the WPX fault, because I have found that, you know what, no matter how much the hosting provider is gonna do a good job for your site, if you don't have an efficient theme, you're using too many plugins, there's always going to be some other things that may also impact your speed. So just note that you have to look at your theme, because I was having some problems with my theme, and my theme was being very heavy, and there's nothing the hosting provider can do when my theme was searching, because I have my site's 9 years old. I had 30,000 tags in my database. The theme was querying all these tags, and every time I went to the post editor, so it was causing long queries. But the bottom line is WPX hosting helped find out what SQL queries were taking the most time. They helped me find out where the problems were so that I could go open up a support case for my theme owner, and then I could also open up a support case with the various plugins that I purchased and use on the site too. So again, I'm very happy with WPX hosting. My site still performs better on WPX Hosting than it did on my previous hosting providers. I do have occasional downtime or outage issues, but they're more related to the plugins and because I have almost 50 plugins and my theme rather than the hosting. I highly recommend WPX Hosting. I've been very happy with them. Very price competitive for other WordPress hosting sites. Thank you.